Good Thursday morning. Championship weekend right around the corner in the NFL. There was big news yesterday with Patrick Mahomes as he meets with the media. Apparently was a full participant in practice. And then nobody was caring what he was saying. It didn't matter what he was saying, but there was a video yesterday, Boomer, that was filmed from that press room of Patrick Mahomes going from the podium back into the locker room, zooming in on his legs and his feet. And he looked ginger. He looked spry. He did not look like a man who had a terrible high ankle injury. So does that mean that we're going to get a healthy Patrick Mahomes on Sunday? Well, the line has come down a little bit by a half a point. It was Bengals minus 1.5. Now it's Bengals minus 1 because Patrick Mahomes didn't limp out of that press conference. Plenty more Aaron Rodgers to the Jets scenarios coming up today as well, and Jerry's going to detail all the local losses for us last night in just a few minutes. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. And I understand walking up to a podium is one thing, and then walking back to the locker room is another. It's a completely different set of circumstances when it's your planned foot and you're playing out in an NFL game and an AFC championship game at that. So it all looks good right now, but I'm telling you, it's not 100%. And since he's not 100%, it's going to affect his play. There's no question about that. Be interesting to see on Sunday night. Of course, it's Sunday night, 12 degrees.
Yep.
What kind of ability and mobility that he really does have. I mean, you know, it's a big part of his game. It really is. I mean, we take it for granted because when you watch him play, you know, everything is effortless. And early on in the season, if you remember, he actually had to run with the ball a number of times, and he ran for touchdowns. He was running for first downs because he was missing Tyreek Hill. The big play really wasn't there. Now, they've come a little bit further along with their running game. They're a little bit more of a power running team than they were earlier in the year, and I think they're going to have to rely on that. And what will be interesting from my perspective, we'll be watching whether or not he can get from under center to the handoff point on time. And, you know, if you're a fraction of a second late, that impacts the defense, and it gives the defense, believe it or not, even in that small period of time, a chance to, you know, to close up a hole. So, look, I was going to pick, and I will pick on Friday, the Bengals anyway. I thought the Bengals and the 49ers would make it to the Super Bowl. The Eagles were a little bit of a surprise for all of us and how well Jalen Hurts had played this year. That's why I think that this is going to be a great weekend. We're going to have two, I believe, really close games.
See, I don't think we're going to have a close game in this Bengals-Chiefs game. Now, call me the mush, call me the guy who had the worst picks of this year, and all of that is true. But I sit here today and yesterday, the day before, and I will continue to think up until Sunday kickoff while I'm watching you freeze your ass off with your Dale of Norway hat on the field behind a desk in Kansas City, that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to beat the crap out of the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to kill them. They are on this trajectory right now where nothing is going to stop them. I love the Bengals before the injury. You're telling me Mahomes, I know he's not 100% like you said. I'm not even sure if he's going to be 60%. I'm not sure if he's going to be 50% with the history of high ankle injuries in football players and the way that he plays his game. And that Chiefs defense is not the Eagles defense. It's not the 49ers defense. And it's certainly not the Bengals defense that went up to Buffalo and slapped around the Buffalo Bills. So they cannot compensate for an injured Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I don't want to say that they're going to win by 3 touchdowns, but I think this is a 10-point victory or more for the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're right back in the Super Bowl.
Well, it's kind of interesting. You felt that way about the 49ers last week.
I did, yes.
And they covered your number, and you got it right. There's no question about it. It didn't go down the way you thought it was.
I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a blowout. Yes, I did. I thought that the Dallas Cowboys defense played much better than I expected them to play. But, yeah, it covered the number, and I was fully confident that the 49ers were not going to lose the game.
You know, and I also feel like there's this thought out there, and it is kind of right. I wouldn't say that it's 100%, but it is kind of right that, you know, for Joe Burrow and the Bengals to win, they got to do it now. And they got to do it now because this team won't look the same next year because of the contract that Joe Burrow is going to end up getting. So some of these players that he has been able to basically play with his first 3 years in his career, and they built around them and all that stuff, and the way that the salary cap works. I think that, you know, the window is now. And Patrick Mahomes won his Super Bowl before his big contract. You know, Josh Allen hasn't been able to get to the Super Bowl with the big contract. Jalen Hurts is on his original second-round draft pick contract. And, of course, Brock Purdy, is a rookie, so he's on a seventh-round picks contract, which is amazing. Now, you also have to take into account they are paying Jimmy Garoppolo, and he did lower his contract to start the season. He was playing more on a bonus schedule, but there is something to be said about where these guys are, how much money they're making, and what their teams are around them. And I think that there is an argument to be made that, look, if you're the Bengals, you got to win it now, because if you don't, it's just going to get harder simply because you're just not going to have all these great players around your quarterback. So they're going to have to lop off somebody from their wide receiver core next year.
Yeah, and we've talked about T. Higgins and how that would be a great fit for the New York Giants. And, yeah, I mean, this group probably won't look the same, and that's the NFL. I mean, look at the Kansas City Chiefs last year. They lost Tyreek Hill. I mean, one of their biggest weapons, if not their biggest weapon, and they're right back in the championship game. But, without Tyreek Hill, a defense that is only okay, and the fact that Patrick Mahomes is hobbled, this is just, it's a really, really tough situation for them, even at home in Kansas City, because I don't think it matters to the Bengals. The Bengals are one of those teams, and I fully believe the teams that, win championships in the NFL now are the ones that are not intimidated by these road situations, the ones that can go anywhere and win. And the Cincinnati Bengals, with all the emotion last week, Damar Hamlin's in the building. There's snow. The Bills are now America's team because everybody's behind them because of all that emotion. And they're a 5.5-point underdog. And the Cincinnati Bengals, from the second that whistle blew to kick off the game till the end, manhandled that team. So they can go anywhere and win, doesn't matter. And Joe Burrow also he owns Patrick Mahomes. Every time he's played him, he's beat him.
Well, I wouldn't say it's him that's owning him. I think it's Lou Anarumo who does a good job of trying to slow the offense down. And those offenses, with the exception of this year, had Tyreek Hill as a part of them. So the previous two wins that they had to deal with Tyreek Hill as well. This victory this year in Cincinnati, that wasn't the case, but still, that was a tight game, and it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be in the 30s. I know you probably think the Bengals are going to be in the 30s. I don't think they'll be in the 30s, but then again, I think that the Chiefs are going to be somewhere around. And normally, when he is healthy, 100% healthy, Patrick Mahomes putting up 30 points. I don't think they're going to put up 30 points in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking somewhere around the lines of, let's say, 31. Well, 31-24 is only a touchdown. I said 10 points, but somewhere in that range, 34-24, something like that. I think they put up a lot of points, the Bengals, again. Teams that make it to the Super Bowl and lose historically don't find themselves right back in it like this.
It's true.
And the fact that they're here is another really impressive thing for Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor and this entire team. And I don't believe it. Now, I think they'll go to the Super Bowl. Whoever they face in the Super Bowl is going to be a very, very difficult matchup for them because both those teams are very good. But I don't think that this is a game that Bengal fans are going to be, this is not going to be one of those games in Bengals history where you go back and like, oh, we almost got there, or we almost did it.
No, they're expected to get there now.
Exactly.
Now they're totally expected to get
100%.
there.
100%. They're a favorite on the road in the AFC Championship
and
game.
One of the reasons for that is that their defense only gives up 24 points or no more than 24 points in their, last two seasons in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So when you're playing these high-scoring teams, Buffalo, Kansas City, Tennessee last year, and you're able to hold down the opposing team and get some key turnovers and not turn the ball over yourself, that is really, to me, the Bengals this past weekend, there wasn't a play where I thought, my God, that's going to be a turnover. Like there wasn't a tip ball, there wasn't a maybe Jamar Chase coming down with the ball outside of the end zone. That was the only thing that I saw where a ball moved. I mean, every single Bengal had ball security. Everybody knew that that the weather was going to be an issue, and all the catches that were made by the players were just like they were playing in sunshine and it was in the summertime. Like they were not affected one bit by the weather.
Yeah, and which is another reason why I think that this team, the atmosphere is not going to affect Joe Burrow. It's not going to affect the Bengals. If anything, it's going to feed into them even more to be able to win this game. Now, the other game, I'm still...
Street fight, man.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, man, it's going to be unbelievable.
I'm still, like, at this point, I'm leaning towards the Eagles for a couple of reasons. One, just Brock Purdy not being in this situation. Now, I know every single time we bring it up, I'll look at him in the playoffs now, look at him against a good team, and he still always does it. But this particular situation is unlike anything he has stepped into.
I think 4 other rookies have gotten to this game, and all 4 have lost.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Sean King, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, and Mark Sanchez.
Okay. Sean King.
Yeah.
Wow. What the hell year was Sean King in the NFC Championship game with the Buccaneers?
His rookie year.
No, I know, but what year was that?
I think it was like 97.
1997.
Yeah.
Because I was down there covering the Bucs when he was their quarterback.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't even remember that. Maybe because
Maybe 96, 97, somewhere there.
He was 99.
Oh, wow.
oh, that was the great championship game between the Buccaneers and
The
Rams
at St. Louis,
right?
And that's where they had the questionable catch. What was a catch? What wasn't a catch by Bert Emanuel?
Yeah, was it him?
Is it Bert Emanuel?
I think it might have been.
Google it, Al.
It was like in the game was like 13-6 or something like that, right?
Yeah, so he had a 1-on-1. Yes. Yeah, I do believe that. Yeah. So he was 2-2 his rookie year.
So he ended up starting that championship game?
I believe so.
Huh. Wow. That to me is mind-blowing. But anyway, so Brock Purdy in this situation, nothing like he has ever seen. I do think that Eagles secondary is better than he's ever seen. And if there's one weakness on that San Francisco 49ers defense, it's their corners. And you're talking about an A.J. Brown that is not happy, by the way. I don't know if you saw him saying that I'm glad we won, but I need the ball. I want the ball, and I better get the ball.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. This guy's just this group of athletes. I mean, they're just
great.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's awesome. So the squeaky wheel thing is going to get the grease this week with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I think that those guys, Jalen Hurts, can move. I just think that that's going to be a very tough matchup. But that 49ers team, man, I tell you, they are so impressive offensively, and you can never count them out. And all it takes, get the ball to Christian McCaffrey, get the ball to Deebo Samuel. All of a sudden, there's Brandon Ayuk for 25 yards. So I'm not ready to commit to the Eagles.
There's a lot of great players in this game, man. A lot of great players, both on offense and defense. I can't wait to see the matchup between Nick Bosa and Lane Johnson.
Yeah, well, Lane Johnson, dealing with a groin injury too. So
yeah, I think it's a sports hernia, but
okay, well, whatever.
Either one, it's very painful. Now he was able to kind of, just stand in front of Kayvon Thibodeau, even though Thibodeau did have 8 tackles. But the interesting thing about A.J. Brown, so the team wins 38-7.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's really no offense. They get no rhythm. They're just scoring points, short field. Jalen's running, and it's like you kind of pull back in the passing game when it gets to like a 24-point lead. You know what I mean? Late in the game.
Yeah, no, of course. And
so a guy's opportunities are going to be very minimal, and then to bitch and complain about that is idiotic because to me, it's about winning at this point. You've already done all the stuff that everybody knows you can do. And you won a game 38-7.
Yeah, and I bet the A.J. Brown over receiving yards in that game, and I was very frustrated because I saw the way that the game flow was going, and I was like, they're not going to throw him the ball anymore. They don't have to. All they're doing is running all over him. They're up big. You're not going to see A.J. Brown. They're not going to throw the ball a lot.
And the Giants' offense couldn't do anything.
Exactly. So I knew that he was not going to get there. He should have known that he wasn't going to get there with the way that the game was going.
But the point being, with him complaining about not getting the ball, it's like, hey, you just won 38-7.
Yeah.
You're whatever you did during the regular season, it proved that the Eagles made the right thing, did the right thing by trading for you. So now, enjoy the victory, man. And when your number is called, when it will be called this week, this is the week that you're going to have to make plays. You don't have to tell everybody that you're upset about not getting the ball. Your damn team won.
He said, "I'm not a diva, but I want the ball."
Yeah, okay. Did he quote any scripture after that?
No, he did not.
Okay, that's good.
No, he goes, I'm never the receiver to go on the sideline or try to cause problems on the sideline. I'm not that guy. I guess he's just the guy that during the week can play.
So he's not Steph Diggs.
Right, he's not Stephon Diggs.
Is that what he's trying to say? Like, I'm not Diggs. I'm not this guy. I'm not guy. I'm just man. I just want the ball.
Right. So it's
God,
during
it's
the week I'll complain. And then Nick Sirianni had to answer questions about it, of course, and everybody else. Jalen Hurts just becomes a thing now, you know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to become a thing. You're the 1 seed. You blew out the Giants on divisional playoff weekend, and now you're dealing with the controversy. But watch. He'll get the ball. He'll get like 15 targets on Sunday. Watch.
Well, I would
it's the
think
way it
that
happens.
that D'Amico Ryans and the defense of the 49ers will be ready for it.
Probably. All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Not a lot of good news locally with the games last night. Jerry Recco is going to detail all of it coming up with an update in just a few minutes.